Roll call.
Councilmember Carter,
Present.
Councilmember Elliott,
Present.
Councilmember Marroquin,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Camarena,
Present.
Mayor Concha.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please stand. Councilmember Elliott, can you do the invocation, please?
Certainly, would you pray with me? Father, we thank you for your kindness towards us. We thank you for your hand of mercy and your hand of blessing on this country for 250 years. We want to celebrate that and thank you for that. Our country's not perfect, but this is the best country in the world. We pray, Father, now for help and wisdom and sorting out all the issues before us. We thank you for the audience here tonight, the people listening. Help us to do right by the city of El Centro and by you. We commit this to you in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Councilmember Marroquin, could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Hand over your hearts, please. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Attorney, is there anything to report out of closed session?
There are no reportable actions from closed session.
Very good. The City Council welcomes your input. At this time, members of the public may address the City Council on any matter not listed on the posted agenda. Pursuant to the Brown Act, no action to be taken tonight on any issue brought forth under public comments. We ask that you please complete a speaker slip and submit to the city clerk prior to the start of the meeting. Although you are not required to identify yourself, this information on the speaker slip will assist the mayor that all persons wishing to be addressed to the council are recognized, and also assist the city clerk in preparing the city council minutes. Unless the mayor extends your time, there will be a 3-minute time limit for each public representation. Any information provided on the speaker slip is voluntary and will be a public record. I have speaker slips, but they are topic specific. I don't believe I have any there. Is there any online?
No, none, Mayor.
So I will call the speaker slips as they be called into. So the first order of business is presentation.
No, we have Victor Nava from the regional.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Victor, I didn't see you there.
No worries, man. Well, good evening, esteemed city council members, Victor Nava, President, Ivy Regional Chamber of Commerce. On behalf of the Imperial Valley Regional Chamber of Commerce, I'd like to recognize Mayor Sonia Carter for her service to our community. During your time as mayor, you've worked to support local businesses, encourage economic growth, and address the challenges facing Imperial Valley. We appreciate the partnership between your office and the city and the chamber, especially in supporting local events and business initiatives. Thank you for your service. We wish you well moving forward. And on behalf of the Ivy Regional Chamber, we'd like to present you with this plaque in recognition of your time as mayor of the city of El Centro.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I don't know if Amelia.
There.
Thank you.
Hold on there.
No, one more.
One more.
Oh, thank you, thank you. This is beautiful, thank you.
Sonia, would you like to say anything or?
I would just like to thank you. I enjoy attending the events with you guys and seeing how much you do for the community, standing side by side with you. And I look to many more times. thank you very much.
It's our pleasure. Thank you so much for your
Thank
service
you.
as well. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Vic.
Mayor, we just received a public comment slip.
Mhm.
Uh, Is it Chandler? St. Clair?
Sorry, I wasn't aware I had to pull this out.
Oh, yes, but thank you. Please come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. My name is Chandler Sinclair. I reside at 480 Aurora Drive in El Centro, California. In addition to being a resident of El Centro, I also serve as the finance supervisor for the city of Hopewell. I'm here to just share information about a community event that's extremely close to my heart to raise awareness and include people that I'd like to come. So some of you may know my late mother, Jamie Sinclair. She was an educator in the Valley for over 30 years, and she dedicated her life to supporting students inside and outside of the classroom. In her honor, we established a permanent local charity program through CASA of Imperial County, which is court-appointed special advocates. It serves foster youth throughout the Valley. The program is called the Jamie Sinclair Literacy Program. This initiative is focused on building early reading skills, sparking imagination, and promoting self-esteem in children who are facing social, economic, or family-based adversity. Through this program, we distribute age-appropriate books, partner with local libraries, and integrate our activities that pair with reading materials to help children connect more deeply with stories. So on March 14th, my late mother's birthday, we are hosting a fundraiser at Straval Farms, and we are doing this to specifically increase the number of books distributed, strengthen our literacy lounge events for foster youth, and continue building partnerships with local schools and libraries. The fundraiser is called A Taste of Italy, sharing stories through food. It'll be an event that brings the community together through storytelling, small bites, and a short live cooking demonstration by my father, all in support of literacy for foster youth here in the Imperial Valley. During the event, we will also host a literacy lounge where selected foster youth will receive books and be read to by local community member, Mr. Fisher. I have flyers available for the council if you wish, and if you're unable to attend, there's also supporter ticket options available for those who would like to contribute. We would just truly appreciate your support in helping us spread the word and continue investing in literacy for some of the most vulnerable children in our community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very, very much.
Yeah. Would you like a flyer for? Would
Absolutely.
Okay,
Please.
great.
Council, does anyone have any comments? Sylvia?
No, I'm just interested in
Here's the
receiving
flyer.
a copy of the flyer.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I worked with Jamie.
Hopefully it being spring, you won't be blown away with the wind out
We
there.
have a contingency plan for an indoor option if
There
it's
you go.
windy, since we know it's fair season.
It's a very nice location, so.
Yeah. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no other blue slips, we'll be moving forward to consent agenda. If I can, we have items on the consent agenda, if we could go ahead and vote.
Don't we have to motion?
We need a
Yeah, I
motion
have to motion. So I would like to motion to approve the consent agenda.
And I'll second.
I was thrown off by the fact that it's right here to vote,
Yeah, I know, they cut.
participating.
but thank you. This is why this is a team effort.
Go.
Motion passes 5-0.
Very good. Blue slips on each item?
Yes.
First.
First. First.
First, okay. All right, so we're gonna go to new business and item number 3, and item number 3, we have a blue slip. Mr. Peter Rodriguez, you'd like to step up?
You want to
Ah.
hear first?
That's what I was asking. Okay,
Oh,
thank you.
sorry.
We'll have you step up afterwards.
Hi, good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the council, and everyone attending tonight. The item before you is a fee waiver program that is designed for our downtown area, and if approved, it would be for 2 years, and it's specifically targeted to certain uses that the city and community wants to see there. And then if approved, like I mentioned, it would waive certain development fees. So some background, in our strategic plan, action 5.1, it calls for us to encourage and incentivize building rehabilitation, infill development of vacant and unused parcels. We've done this, some actions to promote this in the past. 2 or 3 years ago, we adopted some changes to our zoning map that allowed previously unused parcels on Adams Avenue to be apartments now. Because just last council meeting, City Council advocated, adopted funding through the CDBG program for housing rehab. So the city does do actions like this. Specifically the downtown area, with the help of the Downtown Ad Hoc Committee, we were looking at ways to incentivize development in the area. We looked at some examples. I think the city of Beaumont, California, they had a rather innovative kind of rebate program for businesses that moved to the area. The city of Vista in San Diego County, they had something similar to ours was being proposed where depending on the type of use, they were trying to attract more restaurants and nightlife to their downtown area. They would waive their development with related fees. So with that information, we took the opportunity of when we had the community engagement this last summer for the downtown area of asking the residents and people interested whether they would support such similar initiative in a downtown area where we would specifically reduce or perhaps eliminate fees for certain uses in the downtown. And as you could see, it was probably out of the 16 questions, this was overwhelmingly consistent in support of that type of program. So with that encouragement, we went with the Downtown Ad Hoc Committee, a kind of framework of the guidelines that are before you were presented to them in October and also in January of this year, and where they had advocated for it to be brought before the whole city council. So one of the key requirements of what's proposed is the city would fund certain uses in the downtown area. Not, if approved, not every use would be eligible for a waiver. I could think of, there's a couple of telecommunications towers in the area. I don't think we want to see them be waived for any reason. But before you are some kind of like screenshots of how we derive what uses should be waived. So on the left is a screen cap of the survey that was done last summer, where we asked residents and interested people what type of uses they would like to see in the downtown area, and restaurants, cafes, entertainment venues were ranked really high. Second, specialty shops and arts and cultural studios. Residents and people that participate in the survey could also input whatever else if for some reason these options weren't applicable to them. And they also mentioned restaurants, cafes, entertainment, coffee shops, retail shops, art studios. And we also have some adopted city policies and plans where we say what type of uses as a community, as a city, we want to see there. Goal 5.7, sorry, action 5.7 of our strategic plan mentions how we want to reimagine downtown El Centro as a vibrant shopping, dining, and entertainment destination. Policy OA 2.3 of our general plan, the land use element, also calls for ways that the city could reduce or eliminate city requirements that acts as barriers to the establishment or expansion of certain uses in the downtown area. And they mentioned specifically restaurant. So regarding the need, the downtown area has the oldest buildings in the city. Some of them are between 70 to more than 100 years old, and they do require a lot of additional rehabilitation when a property owner or a business owner wants to seek redeveloping. This is aside just from updating the plumbing, electrical, and ADA standards to meet today's standards. But for certain businesses, if they want to move in there, they are facing really high costs to do seismic retrofits to make sure the building is safe and meets building code and safety code requirements. Also, we found out that just organically, a lot of the downtown merchants and business owners that are first-time business owners or small business owners or local residents, and sometimes like these financial incentives would really assist them as opposed to more established chains which may not be looking to set up a presence in a downtown area. Also, a lot of these uses that we want to see in the area, such as restaurants, entertainment, arts venues, they require additional permitting, not only from the city, but from, for example, the public health department, which they would need to approve any type of commercial kitchen or sometimes the facilities that bars and nightclubs use when they serve their patrons. And something else I want to point out is, for example, a bar, they want to open in the downtown, they would need before they submit any building plans, they would need to pay for a conditional use permit with the city. That's even before they get approval or denial. And we tell people that sometimes that's a barrier. Like people don't want to risk the $3,200 of a CUP application if they think that might have a chance of being denied. And these are all real barriers that we've seen, but also people have maybe different expectations of how much it costs to get a building permit with the city of El Centro, or just overall the experience. And we feel that this program really kind of not only say that we will waive the fees, but also that we're supportive of seeing these type of businesses there to encourage more applications. So next couple slides, I'm going to go over the program. So this would be bounded to the downtown area, which are the properties on Broadway, Main, and State Street between 4th and 8th Street. It's outlined right on the map before you. And if approved, it would be for 2 years, starting April 1st, 2026 to April 1st, 2028. And it'll be subject to the eligible uses would be the ones in that orange square, which are art, dance, music studios and schools, bars and nightclubs, business and professional offices, non-medical, commercial recreational facilities, event centers, gyms, health clubs, museum and cultural centers, restaurants, cafes, bakeries, and delicatessens, and retail shops. So the fees that will be eligible for waiver are building permit fees, plan and zoning fees, encroachment permit fees, and development impact fees. If it's not listed there, it won't be eligible for waiver, but we did want to highlight that the water sewer fees, those would not be eligible for waiver, neither were capacity fees, sales tax fees, business license fees, fees that prospective business owners would need to pay to other agencies, or in certain cases, the city would need to hire someone to do a specific plan check on a building. So the applicant would still need to pay those fees. So how much we're talking about? So we look back at the last 5 years of these types of fees that were collected in the downtown area from 2021 to last year. We found for the last 2 years, it was between 31,000 and 33,000 for a certain period in 2022, a 12-month period. It peaked at 41,000 during that single month period. Now these numbers, they include every building permit, every planning and zoning application. We didn't, when I collected this data, I didn't segregate the uses that wouldn't, if approved, wouldn't be eligible for it. So it's a kind of overestimation of that. But I just want to give you kind of a ballpark figure of how much money we're talking about. Regarding the long-term cost of this, we feel that even with this fee waiver program, we would see an increase in possibly sales tax generation, but also kind of seeing a formerly vacant building, underutilized building be occupied would bring more activity to the street and also provide more eyes on the street. What we saw too when we looked at the last 5 years is the fee waiver program would include development impact fees, but during that time period, development impact fees weren't collected. The reason for that is just the projects that came before the city, those fees are only collected for whenever they're going to expand it, and they were waived already. But overall, we don't. This would not require a appropriation of general fund. So the procedures that are included in the guidelines is the applicant would need to submit a fee waiver application. We have a draft of it on the screen. that would get submitted with the Community Development Department. We would encourage people to give us a call just to make sure that whatever they're proposing would be consistent with the guidelines. The staff reviews it, and I would review it as well and make sure it's consistent with the guidelines that the City Council approves. And we would either deny it, and in that case, we'll give them a written letter saying why it was denied. And if it's approved, we'll give them written approval. One of the key requirements that for applicants that you are eligible for the fee waiver is that they do need to act upon the permits. So if they apply for a permit and we don't hear from them, they let the permit expire, and it's already past the April 1st, 2028 deadline, they would need to reapply and start over again. So as part of the guidelines, we also included the responsibility of the Community Development Department to keep track of the fees that are waived, make sure that we keep track of the applicant, the project type, the location, and what fees are waived, make sure that we meet our accounting requirements. And prior to the expiration of the program, we'll prepare a report to the city manager, providing them how many projects, the amount of fees, all that information that reflected that were waived, and provide some type of what outcomes that we noticed, and provide some type of recommendation either to continue, modify, or sunset the program. As written right now before you, the program would automatically end on April 1st, 2028 without any action from City Council. So with that, staff recommends that the council consider the item before them and approve it. And that concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions.
I just have comments, I would
Okay.
just like to, I would like to commend you for developing this program. Throughout my career, I worked as a business advisor for the Small Business Development Center. And during my time there, we would deal with many people who were interested in opening up new businesses. Because they're first-time business owners and so on, of course, they didn't have the funding, so this would be, such an incentive to attract that development in the downtown area. This is something that, I also served on the Downtown Ad Hoc Committee, and that's something that we've been working on to revitalize the downtown area. And something that also came to mind when you were speaking, Angel, is that during the time that I was at the Small Business Development Center, we had brought in a consultant to assess the downtown area, and what he recommended was bringing in the nightlife, to attract more people into the downtown area, which would consist of restaurants, bars, nightclubs, cafes, and so on. So it's right in line with something that was assessed about 15 years ago. So I really commend the ad hoc committee that brought this forward, and you for working on to implement it. So this is something that I think would really attract new business owners. So thank you.
Angel, if this goes through, then how would you advertise this program?
Sure, that's why we wanted to make sure that we have enough time and we don't implement the program till we're ready. So that'll be April 1st, and that'll give us enough time to work with the PIO and our staff to make some advertisements to get the word out for that. Yeah, but we're thinking about social media posting. For other programs in the downtown area, we've also canvassed the area, getting people flyers, letting people know about that. That really helps out spread the word. When you speak directly to the property owners.
Do you suspect any outside El Centro interest? I mean, I'm just asking if there's someone outside of El Centro, I guess you would have it on our website, obviously.
Yeah, I would think, we'll post on the website, and I think we'll also speak with a pretty good relationship with the Small Business Development Council. We'll probably mention to them, they get a lot of interaction with first-time business owners. Yes.
Great. Thank you.
I just want to thank you. This has been something in the making, and I'm excited to see the outcome of it. So thank you.
Yeah, and I will tell you that this has been a tried and true way of doing things, even here in El Centro. Back in we had city managers Salem, Abdul Salem, the waiver of developmental impact fees, just to try to. And then we've had our incubator for our businesses, some other things that we've tried. I found it very interesting that I read the survey that the respondents brought in, and the eateries and the entertainment, and it's kind of hand in hand that you're not having to deal with the internet and the box stores, which is, you know, always overtaking everything. So we're finding that these old towns and the downtown areas of a lot of different municipalities are going in this direction. So certainly,
Yeah.
and I love the fact that it has a time frame on it, and we'll see if it works and it goes.
Exactly.
So I appreciate. I do have a comment for Mr. Rodriguez, if no one else has anything. Mr. Rodriguez, I'll have you step up and provide your comment, please.
Good evening, members of the council and audience. I did read the backup data of the information. Also, this last few days, Saturday, Monday, and today, did visit the downtown district, as I call it, not the downtown area, and talked to business owners and informed them. I actually invited them to come here for this information because you don't know if they're going to branch or they're considering something. Of course, it's something new. Everyone's skeptical. Not sure. I don't know. And with the world situations, everyone's kind of holding pat right now, right? And it's unfortunate they're not here, but there were several interested individuals. My concern, if you have a waiver, you already have a set city budget, okay? That's revenue that the city will miss out. As it is, there's some events that occur where you've been over budget. And even though we're not there at the fiscal end of the fiscal year, those are concerns. I also know while we're focused on this, you're also having negotiations with employees. And is that kind of revenue going to affect their negotiations? Those are my valid concerns. One thing too, I noticed when I ride my bike in the downtown area, some buildings, whoever wants to restore those buildings, it's going to cost a ton of money. And it's sad because if those the actual owners had restored it and were offering to rent it out, be a lot easier for these people that want to start something. And I would be supportive of this, but you got some absentee owners that don't care about the property. And it's not those who want to work in there, the actual ownerships. I even call them methadone people but they're part of their neighbors. And you have to work with your neighbors. It's called, diplomacy. We're not going to move them. We just want them to be aware, and this is a better way to do it. You got to win the hearts and minds of people who actually live and work there. They start early. Some of these people that live there, they're up there at 5 o'clock in the morning, getting ready for the business day, and they close at the right time, but they're also there late because they got to lock up everything, making secure and all good stuff. But I would only support it if you guys are okay with losing revenue. As it is, like I mentioned, some budget overcalls are out there that occurred. That's a decision the council made, and those are my valid concerns. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There was where we looked into, I looked at the, Angel, if you could, the background and the cost, of revenue. But the flip side of that was if you could attract new business, that the offset would be sales tax and other things that would help minimize that until they could get their foot in the door. Other municipalities and bigger places where they're landlocked in, we don't have that issue here, but they're kind of systematically demoing a block at a time, and then they're bringing residential on top of commercial, which has been going on for quite a while in different areas of certainly California. So I'm not recommending that here. This is just a small fraction, but I did want to address it in the packet that financial is always going to be a #1 concern here. We we have had a lot of different angles that we're trying to work with our downtown, trying to keep our downtown part of our community. I think it has a huge connection to our heritage and to our legacy of who we are here. So if we can do things like what you're proposing, and we're hoping that we have the success that we're looking for, and maybe it's dominoes. One brings in two, two brings in four. So we appreciate bringing that forward. We appreciate the comments. So.
Angel, and also just to say that appreciate the canvassing that you guys do, but if it's possible also to reach out maybe on a more national known level to see if any of those type of businesses would be interested in even the smallest type of incentive to be able to come in and provide a service for us in that area.
Sure. Yeah, we'll look at that. Get some open PIO together, get that word out.
And I
more
also want to thank you.
outreach.
Your department's done a great job and been very patient with us as we've been going through this, and been very helpful and provided us with so much detail as we were going back and forth and working on this. And I'm looking forward to great things, because I do believe that that though we waive this small fee in comparison to jobs and the sales tax revenue and so forth, that it'll make up for it. Thank you.
I do have a question. Mr. Hernandez, you mentioned the conditional use permit. Does that fall within one of the categories of the fee waiver?
Yes, that falls under the planning and zoning fees.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
the
I just
building
wanna
permit
make sure.
fees, the planning and zoning fees, from looking back at the last 5 years of data, that takes up like 90% of all the fees that are before you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is item number 4, award bid.
We need
have to
vote
take
on the
action.
vote. That's an action item.
He's traumatized from the last meeting. He's trying to he's on a timeline.
Now I don't have anything to vote here. So take a motion.
I motion to approve.
I second.
Have a motion and a second.
Oh, my goodness. It's funny.
We're just helping you along.
It's a team effort.
I
Motion
was
passes
told
5-0.
that our last meeting went awfully long. I was just trying to
Make up,
push this through. So
make up, yes.
I'm waiting for a thumbs up. We're ready to go for? All right, here we go. So item number 4, award the bid and authorize the contract for the El Centro Downtown Beautification Project. Adriana Nava.
Hello, Honorable Mayor and Council. Tonight, staff is requesting approval to award a construction contract for the Embellece Down project. So thank you, Norma, our city clerk, who lines us up. And then we also have the contractor who we're recommending for award here. Nielsen Construction, George and Rick are here representing their company. And so a little bit about the project, just for context for our audience. So the city of El Centro was awarded $4.78 million to carry out this project. It was one of 42 statewide awardees out of 230 applicants. And so that's something we're very proud of as a team that we worked on with the community. And so now that we've finalized the design process and the bidding process, we're here just a little bit of overview. It includes town square renovation to accommodate the food court. And I have some pictures of this, but you saw this in action the day of Mardi Gras. Day of Mardi Gras, we were able to achieve many of the things that we want to continue to achieve for downtown. And that includes the 8th Street Downtown Gateway sign, and that would be a new sign. And then a renovation of the 4th Street sign, which is needed. In addition to that, we have some streetscape improvements like Big Valley trash cans, benches, and some stormwater improvements. So these are just a few images of what is proposed in the town square, repainting, refinishing, a lot of lighting enhancements that with time has deteriorated, and then some metal screening to move forward with more of our Art Deco style that we're aiming for. As it relates to the inside, we would include faux turf, expand the area where vendors are situated, remove the ball there to be able to do more staging and music. And so this is some of the items that we're proposing. This is the 8th Street sign as proposed. This is the 4th Street sign as proposed. This one is the rehab item. And then these are the furnishings. We have already purchased the Noble Wind bench that will include some artwork and will be designated at certain locations. We're removing the benches that we have in place and adding the benches that you see in the center. And then the Big Belly trash can, which is a really expensive item, which is a high capacity trash can and is fully enclosed. And this is so that people don't scavenge and make a mess. And so we've experienced that in the past. And so, why do these improvements matter? And I think for us, what's really important and what we've carried out throughout this process is that it enhances downtown identity, supports local business. As you can see, when we have events, many of our micro businesses attend, sell their items. And so that's one of the things that we like about doing these types of improvements is that we can carry out more of these types of events. Also improves walkability and aesthetics for the area. If we want to attract more merchants, we also need to do a good job at keeping up our downtown and enhancing the public space, and also leverages state funding. We are receiving $4.78 million, which is a significant dollar amount to beautify these spaces. And then also advances council beautification goals as part of our strategic workshops that we have worked with council. This is one of the items that not just the council, but the community have also requested. In terms of the bid results, the bid was advertised December 2nd. The bid opening was January 13. We had one bid that was received from Nielsen Construction. The base bid is $4,002,000. Staff did a complete background check that's also a part of your staff report, includes all the license checks we do. They do have subcontractors with them, and all of those licenses were verified as well. We do advertise it in the newspaper. This is one of the clippings. And we show what the timeline is for all of our local contractors. And we also use Planet Bids, which does outreach to many other contractors. In terms of the construction budget comparison, so our original grant construction allocation was $3,927,000. The bid that we received was a little bit greater. The bid received was $4,002,000. And so that doesn't include our standard 10% contingency. So it's the 10% contingency is $400,200. So our total construction need is $4.4 million. So we do have a funding shortfall. As part of your recommendations, we are recommending to allocate Measure P funds for that. And one of the reasons why is, and I'll share very candidly with you, for some of us who've worked for the city for a while, for a long time, we hesitated to apply for large grants like this because we didn't have any funding to leverage it with. And so Measure P, when Measure P was discussed with us, one of the items was we want to enhance the city, include new infrastructure, new parks. And so this was a tool. So through the grant, we're bringing in $4,780,000. And there is, I think, a small gap, but it's a very small percentage to what we are receiving. The base bid also does not include the shade structures. This is an additional cost of $165,000. And so if council wishes to include them, we would need to identify additional funding. As it relates to that, staff is recommending award of the bid to Nielsen Construction in the amount of $4,002,000, and then including the contingency and allocating $475,200 from Measure P. I don't know if there are any questions, comments. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any comments?
Well, my question would be is for the shade structures, okay?
Yes.
That's not incorporated into the 475. So would that take a separate action if this is something that we would be interested in also including in the project, since, in that way, it's all done all at once?
Yes, there's a couple of options. One of them is as we move forward with construction, we could bring the shades back if we have any room in the contingency, or we could program it now and add it into the budget. And so it would increase it to $165,000 plus the $475,200. So it would be that $475,000 plus the 165.
Adriana, was this, the shading included in this? No.
No, we did not
It's
include it
just
as part of it is one of our options. Originally, when the estimate was completed by CORE, we were at 3.3 million. When the bid came in, it came in a little bit greater than was anticipated. I did speak to Rick about it briefly, and some of the lighting is quite expensive. When they price it out as a contractor, they go through it line item by line item, and that was one of the things that was expressed, that our lighting is, what it was spec'd out was expensive.
So I have a couple comments. Seth.
Yes.
Obviously, when these projects, they're not born and, this didn't start 60 days ago and all of a sudden we're here. This is something that you shoot for 2 or 3 years ago, and costs, are increasing during that time. It seems like our contingency, our shortage, the lion's share of that is the contingency money, right?
Yes.
So 400. And hopefully, I mean, contingency is supposed to be exactly what it is for those things, that the hiccups and things that we did not, cover. And then obviously with that based in there, we could do an amendment to bring the shades in if the contingency is there. I like the fact that it's separated, so it allows us to know if we're on track with this. I would like to see moving forward, because a lot of times we are, major P money is exactly for this. This is exactly where it was supposed to be for the capital improvements. But if we could look at prioritizing objectives, because as projects move through that snail pace sometimes and they get to here, there might be things that we have to tell off and in priority, so we can come in within the budget. Right now, we're looking at a major P here, but I don't know, is that something that we would normally look at? It's like we want to, our objectives are 1 through 8, but by the time we get to the actual time to do it, we can afford 1 through 6.
Yeah, I think it's very easy to accomplish something like that when it's a project that is not grant funded. With grants, there are so many grant goals and objectives that are needed for you to score a big point. So this is the infrastructure component, but we also have a mural component. And then we also have security services within this time for 2 years. So we budgeted for that. And then we also budgeted $70,000 in special events. And so in order for us to capitalize on all of the points and be a successful applicant, we incorporate these items so that we hit every single goal and objective from the grant. As you can see, we had I think there was like 230 applications, and we were one of these successful ones. And one of the reasons why is because we are hitting every target and objective. And so when you're writing these things, you have to maximize your number of points. And so one of the things that, can for sure be done is within our own projects that are not grant funded, we can definitely say we can target A, B, and C, but if we don't get to D and E, that's fine. Does that?
No, it makes perfect sense. And I was going to ask the follow-up, that does grant, the funding. And I would imagine that there's caps on each category of your objectives, right?
Soft costs are only a certain percentage. Yes.
Your construction can only be to this, and this can be only, so it's all called out, I would imagine. Correct?
Yes.
So, well, I appreciate it. Is there any other question? I do have a blue slip on this, so I will like.
When is construction supposed to start?
Well, we have been working. I've already spoken to Nielsen about getting all of their insurances in order, and starting within the next 2 months. We are on a very short time frame to complete this project because grants expire, and so we are pushing hard on making sure we get started as soon as possible. It is a pretty extensive construction period. I think we have it for 18 months, and so our goal is to do it before that, but we like to give the contractor sufficient time as well to complete the work accurately.
But we always like to start in the summer, don't we? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to call up, if no one has anything else, Mr. Rodriguez, to speak on item number 4.
Thank you, Adriana, for your presentation. A beautiful project, and I love the shade structures. Who doesn't? We need shade. And she said in the presentation, you were at Mardi Gras, the setup that was there going down Main Street was perfect. You saw the people that were there. It was a safe environment. Plenty of police and extra law enforcement were there. The vision to this project, you can see, was there. And it being completed during that time can be more, it would have been a nice show to see. But as it is, the groundwork is laid out. If I can give a suggestion to the shade structure, when I was president for IBGSL and David Pittman, we had two of those shade structures, you can see on the brochure, they were donated by the Kiwanis Club. I know it's not the same size or the cost, but perhaps a civic organization or business would love to donate if they are reaching out to them to save you some dollars in the long run. But that's just a suggestion. But overall, I love the concept of the project. It's much needed. It may help on then building back what used to be downtown, a real nice place to be. You know, but it's a great presentation. But that's just my 2 cents on getting your shade structures in there. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Any other comments or questions? I believe this one has action.
Yes.
Yes.
So, I would like to motion to approve and authorize a contract for the MBS Park downtown.
I'll second.
And the allocation amount, because we will need that for the purposes in the resolution and also
To include
for
the
finance.
allocation
Yes, I'm so sorry.
of the major P.
What was it?
So
Say-
we're gonna
say
do it
again,
in two
Adriana.
parts?
And the shade?
Yes, that's what we want direction on, if whether you want to include the shade. If you include the shade, it'll be a 640,000 from Measure B instead of the 475. So we could do that at a later date and just include the 475,200, but we need consensus from the council as to the allocation amount.
Okay, so as of right now, this would be the allocated amount unless we want to move forward with the shade.
Yes.
So, and for some reason, I thought that was going to be put as a secondary project. And we were going to see if the contingency would cover that. So unless you want to amend your motion, do you want to just do this in two? We'll go ahead and move forward
So
here.
we'll amend but didn't my motion include the 475?
Yes,
Okay.
I just want to be clear that the 475 doesn't include the 165
So, you know,
from the shade structures.
let's see if there is any funding left from the contingency, you know, for the shade covers, and if not, then later come back at a later date and
So the motion is,
and
yeah,
put that
I
request
think
in.
we were just clarifying, so.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we do have a motion and a second, so we can go ahead and vote.
I just
think I
need your
did.
vote, Mayor.
Oh,
Mike.
Mine didn't come out.
wait a minute. We're
Motion
having a
passes by
conversation
two.
about adding this, but everyone else has already voted. How's that work? Okay, we're good. Thank you.
Well,
All right, I'm just off today apparently, so.
It's okay.
Y'all have those
We
days.
about to say that. We all have those days.
I'm ready to go right now. All
All
right, here we go. So we have item number 5 for discussion and direction, proposal of the half-court basketball at Legacy Ranch subdivision. Adriana Nava.
so I guess the city clerk didn't announce what the results were of the last
I
item?
did, motion
Oh,
passed
okay.
5-0.
All right,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't
No,
hear
okay.
you. She did.
See, now it's
Yes,
your
you
turn
did.
to have.
There was so much sidetracking over here, you know? so-
Mike's contagious.
Okay with that.
And I didn't give the opportunity for the contract. I don't know if you wanted to say a few
Oh.
words or you were.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next item is item 5 of our agenda, and this is discussion and direction regarding a proposed half-court basketball court at the Legacy Ranch subdivision. So just a little bit of a background on the location. Legacy Ranch is nearby 4th Street. Within that subdivision, there is a park. The park includes various amenities. There's a playground that's a 5 to 12 playground, a covered gazebo and picnic tables, large natural play, turf play area, and then walking path and benches. This park does include some lighting, and staff is proposing the addition of a half-court basketball court at this location to expand recreational opportunities. As to the conceptual site plan, it identifies briefly where the proposed basketball court would be located. It would be a half court. And there would be 2 goalposts back to back so that you could maximize the space. A reason why a basketball court at this location. This park doesn't have any amenities for teens or young adults. Some of the observations are that youth play basketball on the street. There are multiple portable hoops throughout the neighborhood. In your packet, I hope you were able to see some of the photographs of just how many there are in the neighborhood. And the nearest public court is over a mile away at Buena Vista Park. And if you visited anybody at Buena Vista, you can see that the basketball court is always pretty busy, and that is a full court. So the goal for us was to provide a safe recreational space for our neighborhood youth. We did carry out a resident survey. This is one of the items when we included in the budget. I believe it was Mayor Crankshaw at the time. Council member said, well, have you asked the neighborhood? And so we had received feedback, but a lot of it was informal. So we did do a survey. There were 63 responses received. And one of the questions was that you lived in the neighborhood and you were an El Centro resident, because we didn't want people opining from all over El Centro who didn't live in this area. So 70% of the residents supported the construction of the basketball court and 30% opposed. We also asked, would you be likely to use it? So 56% said very likely, 11% somewhat likely, and 33% said very unlikely. The results indicate a majority neighborhood support for the facility. And so I just wanted to add that, in terms of community considerations, it's a safe place for kids to play, reduces playing on the streets, and adds recreational amenities for teens, and which is a lot of what I already see at our basketball courts, a lot of young males playing out there with their friends. Some of the concerns that were raised are the noise. Some of the residents nearby were concerned about just the ball bouncing. Traffic and parking, many said, there's already limited parking. We don't want more cars in our neighborhood, which we also understand. Some of them also didn't want outside visitors, and some of them cited the loss of green space. So for us, in terms of staff perspective, we thought that the small court design minimized the footprint, yet added an amenity for our teens. So what is it proposing? Circular half-court layout, as you can see in the concept, back-to-back basketball goals, and then high-strength concrete surface. We have been painting them, which just adds an element, think of just design, and makes the facilities look a lot nicer. We are proposing 2-color painted court, and then no additional lighting would be added. It would just be when the lights go out, time to go home. And then, design allows for multiple users while minimizing park impact. So you're not going to go play 5-on-5. This is, 3-on-3, 2-on-2 type facility. And then these are some of the images that we had included that were throughout the neighborhood. Some of them are really nice facilities, and then others are just all over the street. In terms of the construction cost, this is an item that was budgeted during this fiscal year, and $100,000 was budgeted for this item. And then what we are seeking is direction from council, whether to move forward or not to move forward with the project, and any other design considerations you may have.
Just looking back to the residents, this is something that they wanted to implement, so.
70%, and I will be clear, and 64 responses, so it's not the entire, I think there's about 111 homes, so it was the greater majority within that neighborhood, but I want to be completely transparent that it wasn't 100%. But if you look at teens, they're not always also very responsive on their phones. I think it's another, they're responsive about some things, but not giving your city feedback.
No, I approve of this. Want to make sure they have a place that they can go and play in the park.
Adriana, can you go back to the slide that you show the entire park and the small area that the basketball court is, that one right there. So I see that there's the basketball court is adjacent to one house right there on the left. Is it another house on the upper side there? You feel comfortable with that? Because I noticed there was a lot of positive response, but the negative response were very, very verbose that went on and on and on about breaking windows and stuff like that. So you feel comfortable with this arrangement and the distance, I'm just saying, from the house?
Yes, and we didn't do a measurement, but there is quite a distance. Also, it is, because this is, the scale is not 100%, it gives the impression that you're very close to the street as well, and we're not. There's minimum distance requirements, same thing with the adjacent property. We also have this similar scenario at Buena Vista, and we haven't received any complaints from the adjacent neighbors. And also there is a more substantial lighting there that we were concerned about. So I don't see that being a concern. Also, with the basketball, I think it's very unlikely that you can break someone's glass window. I mean, you would have to
Those were
slam it
just
and be a
the-
very
the
close
complaints that came in.
proximity.
I'm sure you read them, that there are broken windows they're complaining about. The circle at the bottom is parking. That's at the cul-de-sac or something. Is there
Yes.
other parking that we don't see?
So on what you see on the
side?
cul-de-sac is where sometimes
Yes.
people park. But at Legacy, most of the people who go to this park are people who live in that neighborhood. There is a large law enforcement presence that we've seen because they're also part of our districts. So we don't know everybody in the neighborhood, but you do get to know some of the residents just by virtue of doing the assessment year after year.
Yeah.
And then I think another area was the number of residences that had basketball courts. If you drive that neighborhood, you see the need associated with it. And we're hopeful that as we add this amenity, they remove that and it just lends to a more peaceful street.
I do have another question. It doesn't, there's no lighting around there at all?
There is lighting, but it is, we're not going to have basketball court lighting per se. So
just
there
for
is
that
lighting
area.
throughout the park, but we are not going to do additional lighting at the basketball court like we have at Buena Vista.
Out of
It'll
the
be what
park,
is there.
okay.
And then generally during our summer nights, it's a much longer day, so it gives people
It's about
the
8
ability to
o'clock.
play. But also again, I've mentioned that some of the neighborhood is law enforcement. We also don't like to have things on late at night because a lot of people do a night shift. There's border patrol. And so we don't want to have that bouncy ball as you're trying to go to sleep. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
I'm ready to move forward.
So just on the 70-30, I'm always going to be happy with. I'm sure that there's 30% of people that don't want soccer in the basins over off of Lotus, or 30% that doesn't want, baseball going on over here. It's just how it rolls. I doubt if you're going to have the basketball courts roll up, because people are they'd rather just throw a couple of hoops in front of their house. You may have a few of those go back. I like the way it's designed, because the ball is going to be pretty much going away from the house, even in either direction. The other side has to contend with the playground. So I think, so there's houses over there on that side. So I think all in all, and at first I was a little bit, I can see a couple street lights there, or lights for the park, one on both sides of it. But I was like, well, most kids after school or even evening or whatever is when they're playing basketball. But I think that this is kind of a win-win, that we're providing something for the neighborhood, but it's not going to be at all hours of the night. And it allows for the park to kind of be a park as well. So I think it's a win. It's a good job. Thank you.
Yeah, we also host a lot of birthday parties at that park. It's one of and again, there's no restrooms at this park, so a lot of it is just neighborhood use. So I think this will be even a great amenity for the birthday parties that we do have at the facility.
So I do have a speaker slip on this item. So if I could, Mr. Rodriguez, I have you step up.
Great job, Adrian. As always, parks are pretty deep and dear to my heart. I have court in this area as a cyclist riding in that neighborhood, and that's a few times. It's much needed for the residents that live there. And as far as for the light concerns, I think daylight or time changes Sunday. And with the weather we've been having, it's been a little too warm for us. A little with the fairs here and all kinds of crazy weather. But it's good that we have a half-court park out there for those residents. And, once there's no light, they can't see the ball and they're gonna go home and there's no restaurants, so there's no lingering people hanging around. There's gonna be, in my opinion, no extra car traffic. This is the neighborhood or one or two friends or a relatives coming by and visit. I think it's a outstanding project for a beautiful neighborhood. Thank you.
Yeah, they may even get home in time to do some homework.
Hmm.
Ready to make a motion? I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
Second.
Motion passes 5-0.
Perfect. Thank you, Adriana. Oh, I guess you're staying. Huh? All right. Item number 6, Eddie White Complex Treasure Field Parking Lot Change Order Approval requested by Adriana Nava.
Yeah, and this conversation is in line with what you mentioned earlier about A, B, and C, and prioritizing some of the needs. And I will share, so many of our employees are El Centro residents. So when they visit Fraser, and I'm just saying this anecdotally, they're like, it looks the same like when I was 8 and I'm 40 something now. And so I think for us, what we're looking to achieve is beautify parks that are widely used in the community. And so when we make an improvement, you see sometimes the dramatic impact it has, and you think, oh, we kind of need to do this part too, because now it just looks like what doesn't go, and it's quickly in front of you. And so looking at this, this is an approval of a change order number 3 in the amount of $38,106. And this is the parking lot. We are hoping to have a ribbon cutting for this very soon. And there's a few things that are missing there, but you can see that the parking lot greatly improves this area. This was previously all dirt. And so when it rained, you would see a lot of the kids who cut across to McKinley. It was muddy. And so now I see people walking through there, and it's just so much nicer. And right now the weather's really nice in the morning, so you can see that as well. And then for the residents that are adjacent to it, there was also a water line that was added. Actually, one of the change orders was the hydrant. And that location was specifically discussed with fire so that they had access to water in the event any one of those homes was impacted by a fire. And so just a little bit of context on that. So where it says Via Avenue on that map is where the parking lot was completed. Just south of that is a parking lot. And so that parking lot is for some reason much more deteriorated than the one that's further south. I believe it's because it's used a lot more. And so we did reach out to the contractor who was completing this work and asked for a cost estimate, which is Pyramid, on this. And one of the reasons why we didn't include it originally is because we funded this project through an air pollution control district grant. And so what they look at is dirt, dust emissions, PM10. And so if you have an existing parking lot, then you don't qualify because it's already paved. And so that was one of the reasons why that wasn't originally included. And so what does the change order include? It includes crack sealing of the existing pavement, surface preparation, sweep, and cleaning, 2-coat slurry seal application, and then restriping. And the restriping is like the jewels on a fit. It just makes it look clean and beautiful again. And why, perform this work now? Well, it presents a huge opportunity for us since we already have a contractor mobilized, and it prevents additional deterioration, reduces our future maintenance costs, and it protects our capital investment. That said, this is the existing parking lot. And so in terms of budget, right now we have had 2 concurrent projects running. So we have the parking lot, and then we also have the infill improvements. And so we have some funding from the infill improvements that we could use towards this, finish the contingency from the grant we received, and then also 16,000 from the infill project. And so this is not an additional, it's just using the funding that was already allocated for Fraser. And so the internal reallocation would allow us to complete the pavement preservation work without delaying the project or requiring a separate future contract. And so it's our recommendation to approve the change order and authorize the proposed budget transfer in order for us to complete the necessary pavement preservation improvements. I don't know if there are any questions on that. I know some of it may be a little complicated on the fiscal impact.
When was the money allocated for what we began to start without this parking lot, Adriana?
I'm sorry,
The money that was allocated for the paving that we saw on the dirt and all the renovations on the fields? Just take a guess. That was long ago. Thank you. Yeah, quite a while ago, right?
So the original grant was, I believe, from 2019, and I think we have that here. We didn't get funded originally because APCD funded other projects, and then I think they had money available, and they reached out to us very recently on this.
Thank you.
And yeah.
Right. So for another 16,000, we can repave the existing lot that's really getting old and would look all new.
Yeah, there's 2 parking lots side to side, and we're right now, the one that's more significantly deteriorated is the one to the north.
Sure, yes, right.
Comes down and we don't want an ugly parking lot next to our pretty parking lot.
Well, it's that, and also we do have the Little League ceremony coming up mid-March. We're all gonna be there. We're all gonna be really exciting, and you're gonna look at me and say, "Why didn't you do this one?" And it's happened to me before.
So now these are, in fact, both of those parking lots, we don't share those with the school at all. These are fully the city's responsibility for that. And then that funding that you're asking to the additional beyond the contingency, that will include the striping as well?
Yes.
Okay, so because I saw that there was the need for handicap striping and some few others in that last.
Yes.
And obviously Measure P funding that we're looking at.
Yeah, and we're not requesting additional funding. It's just allowing us to use it because it was originally allocated for the infill improvement. So we're not requesting more money, just allowing us to use some of the funding that we have as part of the infill project.
Okay. The infill will still be done?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do have
Abraham?
some savings there.
They're not requesting more money? Okay.
Adriana, I want to say I did go by and I did see the new lot. It looks great. I mean,
It looks so
just
much nicer,
changes
right?
the whole atmosphere there. So I think once they do this, that north end lot, it's going to look really, good. It's going to merge together.
Was the current hydrant, it seems like it's almost like out in the middle of the parking lot. I see the ballards around it, but is that where it was or?
There was none.
Yeah.
There was no hydrant. There was
no-
only one along the sidewalk, but it couldn't extend all the way to some of those properties that are landlocked. And so the parking lot is also an access point for some of these properties.
No, absolutely. I just was wondering why it was so far into the kind of what appeared to be the roadway.
Brad Chapin's probably listening. We talked to Brad. Brad, where do you think we need this hydrant? And he said, right here. And then when we
Brad.
and then when we built it, we're like, wow, this is kind of in the middle, but it's where the need is. And I think that's the great thing about having a team like the kind we have, that we can quickly say, hey, not just an engineer perspective, but the firefighter who's going to be out there, what does it take for you to do your job well? And that's where he said the placement was.
And we can joke about, I hold him in very high esteem, so I would imagine that if he says it's there, it's there, so.
Yeah.
Yes, for access. He needs quick access.
Okay. Take a motion?
Yeah. Motion to approve?
We have a speaker note, but
Oh, do we?
he's
I
out of the
looked,
building.
but, is he, he's outside.
Oh, he's coming in.
We do have a speaker note,
Okay.
so. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Rodriguez, I have you a speaker note for this topic.
Again, this project is, in my opinion, is a beautiful project. I come from Costco, going back home, I always drive by it because when you saw it before it even started, rough looking field, let's be honest. But where it's getting rough, what you see now is a sign of hope in that neighborhood, okay? And it's a beautiful, because it's this week I saw 8 or 7 staff members parks right there working because they gotta get some work done. And you can see, I can imagine when the kids see it. They're gonna be all excited, new park, new dugouts. They're all gonna be excited. You see the sidewalk there, just everything there is beautiful and it's well deserved for that neighborhood. Great job that you guys have done. So I'm okay with it. Thank you.
I just want to thank you guys for your support. I know we've had a couple of items for my department and really, there's a huge team of people that are working on these items as I sit here and present them. And I'm really grateful for the support on these because as for us, it's also a lot of pressure to deliver these items in a timely manner, in budget. And so we're really thankful for the support.
Please thank them for all of us.
Yes.
Because it's reciprocal.
Thank you,
That's-
guys.
We're glad to see this come to fruition.
So, somebody motion?
We have a
Yeah, I
motion
had-
on the
And then
floor.
I'll second the motion. Okay.
Yeah, we haven't voted yet. You may not be
No.
thinking I
That's,
should.
it's time like.
It's for. Mine.
Yours didn't come up?
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, item number 7. Discussion and any necessary action regarding the award for the Valley Center Point Plaza demolition project. Abraham Campos.
Hi, good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council Member. It's a long day coming, and we are here today to bring some new movement to this part of the city of El Centro. So as you are very well aware of, at our existing and brand new library, that site also holds quite a bit of abandoned buildings at this point, our old Valley Center Point, our old mall. And today we are ready to award the demolition of those old buildings. This map here shows you where Imagine School is at the north end. And everything south of that line is going to be demolished by this project. The old, where it says vacant here is where our old temporary library used to be in the interim between the earthquake and our new construction. Just wanted to give you an idea of what's being demolished. The center portion is the old mall connecting area where you have the small shops. You have the old Mervyn's and the as well as the Miller's Outpost in this area. So a few months ago, you allowed us to go out to bid, and we opened bids on December 18 for this project. We received 3 bids. Because of funding, and just for stating, there's 3.5 million allotted in Measure P in the current budget. We did not know how it was going to go with this bidding environment, so we divided the bid into a base bid, an additive, and an additive bid 2, in the hopes that we can make sure that we get the base bid. Hopefully, we get the additive bid 1, and we were very unsure of additive bid 2, how much we would get, and I'll explain what those are right now. So the base bid, which came in from the low bidder at $1.4 million and change, as was on the screen, includes the demolition of the vertical components of those structures. The walls, the roof, basically just level it off and leave the slab in place. Additive bid 1 for that additional $775,000 removes the footings and the foundations from all of those buildings that are get demolished. Additive bid 2 would do all the upgrades that are needed at that old library site where I mentioned here, this vacant site. So additive bid 2 is mostly related to this vacant site because it currently shares fire suppression systems with the rest of the building. It shares, it does not have power, so it needs its own transformer with the IAD and all own service. And along as remodel, sewer lines need to be dug up inside the facility to make them independent and so forth. There's quite a bit of work that's needed to on this vacant number 2 to be able to truly be independent. So that's basically additive bid 2, which involves work, tenant improvements to make it independent of the Imagine School building. So With that scenario, I'm requesting a creative approach to funding for this project. So the base bid, together with the additive bid one, we're proposing that we award the full amount of that contract at $2,179,857.65. So that'd be the award amount to the contract. We're proposing a 10% contingency. That's your 217,000. That'll give us a contingency on that base bid plus the additive one. We cannot afford, based on the funding available, the full extent of additive bid two. So that's why I say allow us $700,000 for additive bid two, and I'll explain what that would accomplish and would provide for us. So it's very similar or interesting with what Adriana presented in terms of the extra funding for the shade structures. In this case, if you allow this additional 700,000, we can come with some additional work. So here's the additive bid one that was submitted, and getting a little bit into the weeds, but it includes the removal of the foundation, basically. That's a big what it is. Additive bid two is very, a lot of items. There's 42 items here, but what I want to focus on is that Division 21 fire suppression, and that's over $200,000. And this is the electrical, which is over $300,000 on just those two items to be able to, it's not them, to be able to do that. A lot of it is power, ID, transformers, electrical panels. It's very expensive equipment. There's a shortage, tariffs and electrical thing. Everything is very, really expensive right now. The remainder, that brings us to 500,000 out of those, that's 700. So the remainder 200 would be basically to accomplish some of the incidental works. It could be replace existing sidewalks, cut off the existing fire line. So we as staff, instead of coming back to you, we're asking you to provide us that flexibility to, one, make sure that we get the fire suppression squared away and the electrical squared away on that old facility, and negotiate with the contractor on which of these items they need to approve to be, or need direction to be able to complete that renovation and make it more independent as best as possible. Any questions on the scope? Because it's a different take to what we've asked before in terms of the fiscal request.
I have a few.
Yes.
So I'm not a big fan of piggybacking any of these bids because it's basically you don't want to have to come back, but I would like to know, as you discover things, what it is. What is the end game for that, the old library?
The old library?
Yes.
So Diana knows. It's your direction. It's a very complicated setup for the city as property line goes through the building. So council prior direction was we want to keep it city owned. To do so, we need to create independent electrical, independent water, sewer. Right now, because it used to be all together as part of the Sears building. Imagine, and that old library used to be together was a Sears building. Right now, there's a property line that goes through the middle, which is not an ideal scenario, right? Now we have to have independent services, and that's not how it's built. We share the same roof, we share the same flow lines, we share a lot of the same plumbing and electrical between the buildings. So a big chunk of that $700,000 that I'm requesting is just to help separate it almost at the property line, so it's almost two structures utility-wise. Should we sell, donate, lease? I mean, lease, we have to spend this because we gotta make it independent if we want to rent it. So there's a cost is $700,000. However, if there was a buyer out there, somebody interested in the property, we could save and not do that at a bid deal. And by moving the property line outside of that and make it in part of the other proper parcel, if there was a buyer to buy both the Imagine and ours. What I can do is come back and to council and not approve. You could not approve the additive bid number 2 and come back or approve it right now with a further report to council clarifying what the use will be and if we want to consider or not repairing and making this independent.
Well, it wouldn't make any sense to approve it right now if you were going to have to come back and do that anyhow. So when this was brought, my recall was that we were going to tear down this part, leave that part. And I wasn't sure why we were leaving the old library up, but I was believing that there was a certain reason we were going to. I don't understand the, $250,000 for fire suppression of a building that, what are we going to use it for? I don't know if that is maybe because it's commercial.
It's a liability issue right now. If
What is fire suppression to you?
Sprinklers.
Okay, that's what I thought you were talking about. So it's a liability because it's commercial. It's it's vacant right now. So if it was to go off due to the connection and the property line issue, is that what you were?
There's a potential that should a fire start on our side, it would carry over to the other side.
Well, I would imagine that's from business to business. They're connected anywhere. I mean, I would imagine if Home or Lowe's to Target to, so.
Correct. The liability comes if we don't have fire protection, then.
For a vacant building.
For a vacant building, it does have sprinklers right now, but they used to be served in great part by the old site. So when that gets demoed, the fire suppression goes down.
And there was no thought of knocking that part down.
We cannot because it's part of the same building, the same four walls.
Right.
And the Imagine School are shared by that property line was artificially created as part of the donation when the city received the parcel. The property line was created after the building.
Artificially recreated.
Officially created by somebody with a pen and pencil, and now it's recorded this way.
And we accepted it that way. Was that?
There was different set of circumstances at the time, and we were leasing the property, not owned.
And I'm not trying. I really am trying to wrap my head around this because, I mean, this is significant dollars beyond what we were. The first take of anything is it's going to get wiped out. Then we're talking about we have to pull it up, all the foundation stuff. So does that mean all the payment's going to come out as well?
No, the payment is remaining, whatever's left of it. But all of the concrete and foundations, this is part of additive bid 1. Removed. So this will be all native and just stabilized.
So everything will be like Class B gravel or whatever to stabilize that area. Foundation in.
Foundation in.
And correct. So all the parking lot will remain the same.
Correct at this point, yes.
And then so that is. To do that, that's the 2 bids, if I'm understanding right. That's going to be the base bid and bid 1.
Correct.
For $2,179,000, and you're going to have a 10% contingency upon that.
Correct.
Okay, so yeah, for me, and my comment would be that's what I'm comfortable with. Anything beyond that, now, when that gets knocked down is obviously that's when our liability starts.
Correct.
And so is there anything that we can do to that building? So we're cutting off all water source, electrical source, and obviously the water source would go to the fire suppression.
It currently does not have power because the equipment was fed from the old site and it was vandalized and stolen, so it currently does not have power.
And then there's the owner of Imagine School, are they trying to sell that building, or do you know?
It's they're not trying to sell it. There's interested parties from time to time they have reached out, but there's nothing.
Are they interested in buying our little piece of it?
There's an option, and that's the direction that we can give. I do agree it would be a very shame and to spend $700,000 if somebody's gonna merge them back together, and all of that investment would just be.
Well, and that's what I'm getting at is what's the end game for this particular building? If we're going to start, putting money into it, is the imaginary line going to hold up? This will be our building to lease or whatever. I know that we talked about offices and other items. There's probably quite a few different ideas what we could use that property for. But my thing is that it got bifurcated from the original building. Obviously saving that money and connecting that building back takes the liability out. It gives it the supply lines for all the things that it needs.
Mhm.
And it's kind of a win-win, but have we broached that at all? Or-
It has a prior council direction was to keep it independent and lease it out. But that was a different council. I'm not sure if
Okay.
that's still the intent.
So your answer, and I can appreciate that. It's always tough to come up when you got different council that doesn't know what Council A did. Council B is now making decisions or trying to make decisions on this. So I don't know if anyone has anything in regards to this.
I agree with what you're saying. I think I'd feel more comfortable coming back and knowing what's going to happen with that. If there's ideas already, I mean, we don't know, and it's just sort of like, why, right, all
No,
this
and
right
that's,
now?
so if that's the case, and I agree with it, I would suggest that the motion includes some language of approving additive bid, the base bid plus additive bid 1, and modifying the resolution that's in the packet to not include the 700,000 component, and just directing the city attorney to modify and approve in that fashion the resolution.
It would be, and what's the time frame that once this got approved from the time that we would, obviously get to the point where it's flattened? What are you thinking in time frame?
We're probably at least 3 months, 2-3 months before starting demolition. And there's quite a bit of lead and asbestos.
End of the year type thing? If not-
Yes. So they won't be flat until probably later part of the year.
And that's fine. I'm kind of trying to figure out, do we have enough time to see if there's some options out there? And the options would be contacting
Yes.
the owner. And that's what I was getting at before we're on the hot seat about liability.
Yes.
So
So-
I'm, now that you're saying that, I'm really leaning towards approving, the original, the base, and then the one,
Demo.
and then coming for the.
And that's
for
a
the-
very
Bid
prudent
to
option.
come back.
That works.
Because it may be a moot point. It may be that, hey, you know what?
Mhm.
We do have a buyer. Would you guys prefer to do something like this?
Right.
And then we could weigh out those options at the time.
Absolutely. And that's a very prudent approach.
Okay, thank you.
So who owns, is it Imagine School owns their property or someone else owns it?
Someone else.
Someone else owns that property, but they're not interested in our portion of that property?
We haven't approached them to offer
Okay.
our
Maybe we
property
could
because that
make
was not the
something,
intent
work
before.
out with them then and do something that would maybe
The
trying to
same
find some way to lessen their impact for that little piece of property as well. Because it'll still won't have water or power. But if we can somehow lessen that impact, like if they decide to put in a porch or.
Well, we can approach them
Outdoor
for
seating.
sure. I don't believe they would be interested in, obviously they would have price. We won't be able to donate it. That'd be a gift of public funds, but we have to offer it up and there's a process for disposition of property. However, it does make economic sense to merge it. If
Yes.
there's a viable buyer for both.
Yes. Could they merge their water and power into that property if they bought it?
Yes, because
Oh.
basically how it's
Okay.
operated, it'd be very easy. That's how it was before
Alrighty.
under Sears.
Yes.
We got some time, so.
Yes.
Thank you.
So maybe looking to our city attorney for direction on a motion. The resolution does include a language to add the additive bid item to portion of 700,000. So we'd strike that portion out in accordance with city attorney recommendations.
If that's the only modification, yes, that would be, and was a motion made?
No.
No, okay, so just make the motion striking that one portion.
Could I just move to authorize the base bid plus is it an additive bid? No, just the base bid?
And
Is that the
bid
appropriate
one.
amount?
No,
Abraham?
so it'd be the motion to approve base bid and
And
plus
bid one.
additive bid together with a 10%
And what?
contingency.
The one additive bid,
Uh-huh.
And
And the
the one added-
contingency, right?
Correct.
the contingency.
We're just removing bid 2.
Okay, okay.
Before we make a motion, we have a public speaker too.
Thank you.
Is he out there? Oh, I'm sorry.
Michael Morales.
I'm sorry. I'm so used to. Thank you, Mr. Morales.
Good evening, council. To be honest, I wasn't aware that the city owned this property. I was just in the impression, probably like most citizens or residents are, that it was owned by a investment group, a third party, and so forth. And I do agree that that building is an eyesore, okay? And it's been in that condition for many, many, many years. I'm a longtime resident of Imperial Valley, and I used to go with my parents shopping at Mervyn's and so forth. You know, but and I've always wondered what would happen to that building, or if there's any way the city could have, because apparently the owners kind of just forgot about it, and we're dealing with an eyesore right in the middle of town. And if there was any way the city could take over that building, or say, you know what, you guys are going to have to do something with this building, or, you know, because you're affecting us, you're impacting us by having right in the center of town, big vacant building, and it's a good sized building, very big. But with that said, now that I'm aware that the city owns it, my sentiment is I oppose demolishing that building. I think that possibly this building could be used for other things, because once it's demolished, you can't turn around and go back and, I mean, it's done. It's gone. It's out of the way. And my question is that building not sound where it could be used for something? You know, is the structure not sound to where retail or something cool, or we could use it for something to benefit the community? And since it's such a big building, it could be made into small offices maybe, because I know I'm active with a lot of nonprofit organizations, and we're always looking for places to hold events or meetings, you know, things like that. But so I would like to see something come up out of that building, especially if it is sound. Yes, I understand it's going to cost quite a bit to renovate it and so forth. And I know that the city isn't overflowing with money and so forth. But at the same time, if we could put it to use, because if we demolish it, what's the plan? Just big vacant area right in the center of town. So I would ask the council to kind of consider, put a pause, and maybe, like I said, because once it's demolished, it's no turning back. Maybe we could put it to better use, even a cultural center or something, you know, that the residents could benefit from, and it would beautify the city as well.
Yeah, and I'm gonna let Abraham speak to it. One of the main reasons why we were here is that the report that we got is they did a complete assessment of a variety of structural and safety, and so the recommendation, and I want to talk in front of Abraham, but that's how we got here. And then the other part of that is not to let it sit idle, if that was in fact the way it went, that to come up with a variety and get the community involved and a variety of usage for that area, because you're absolutely right. It's been an eyesore forever. And yes, I mean, we've all gone, I mean, most of us have been here where we've gone into the mall, you know, I think I got my wife's wedding ring at Zales or something in there back in the days. So, but I will tell you that we have a lot of different plans for that between offices or other usage. But if I could, I'd have Abraham come up and kind of address that concern of yours, Mr. Rouse.
No, absolutely. And thank you for the comment. Actually, the first, when we were looking at this, man, it's got to be at least 6 years ago. The first direction to our consultant is, what can we do with this building? what are options for either retail, office, residential? What can we do to salvage the existing building and make it part of the community as well? The consultant went out there and they assessed the building structurally, plumbing, electrical. And if you haven't been out there, it's not what we remember. It's been heavily damaged, vandalized. All the sewer systems are cast iron and are completely rotted out. All electrical. If you go inside, it's a little sad. It was very sad because I remember going as a kid there to baby toys and walking in the plaza area and so forth. And right now, through the walls, all the electrical has been pulled. You can see lines through all the sheetrock where they pulled every piece of copper, every piece of wire that they could find. It's very sad. The Miller's Outpost, if you walk in, the roof is already partially collapsed. There's all the HVAC equipment, which is extremely expensive, has been ripped apart. There's no more HVAC on it. The electrical was completely removed and vandalized. That's why our existing or old temporary library does not have power. The cost was determined to be not conducive to basically repair it. One, just cost-wise, it was extremely expensive to bring it up to operation. And two, because of the size, the shape, and the way of the layout, it's difficult to rearrange into a use that's conducive for current markets. There was a market analysis done, which is to determine what can be done. And the best solution or scenario is to demolish it and start fresh. There was a master plan that was developed for the site that included the library site. So basically, the library was phase one of this master plan that was created for that whole area. The master plan includes some office buildings, some new office buildings, the multifamily for the west of the area, and even potentially a conference center or something like that. So is phase one, if you want to see it that way, is the library. Phase two is a demolition, and phase three is what we end up deciding as a body of council and what the direction is. But the master plan says that there is a market for offices, small offices, and you're absolutely correct. That can be something that we can develop, but without the building there, the blight is eliminated, safety is restored or enhanced in that area, and it might open it up for developers that are interested in where we can partner with private development to come up with something that matches what we did at the library, what we are encouraging with UPS store and Jersey Mike's in that area. So they're very excited about it. This demolition, it was one of the main talking points. Asking when is this going to happen, because it will help their business once it's gone, for safety component. Delaying it or putting a pause would render this bid potentially non-responsive. We need to award tonight to be able, because as you know, we open this in December, the bids. Tonight's the latest that we can award without having to rebid. And we do have good prices, and because of the reasons I stated, I do recommend that we award the motion.
One clarification, what is before you for action is a resolution. The resolution does include, the draft resolution as of now includes the additive bid 2 portion. So the motion would be to adopt the resolution amended to not include the additive bid 2 portion.
I'd like to move that, make a motion for that.
I'll second.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Ms. Flores. Item number 10, establishing water rate setting procedures under Proposition 218, Abraham Campos.
No.
Am I wrong?
Number 8.
Yeah, I'm not moving this along fast enough. Number 8, presentation regarding the City of El Centro rate study, Abraham Campos.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much. Shortly, I will introduce John Ryder from Raptalis and Dudek. This is an update. There's no action tonight, but we are looking for direction as we are getting ready, to look at our rates. This is a follow-up to the water and sewer master plan. If you might have recall that we recently approved a master plan that included in the next 5 year, $21 million of improvements to our water infrastructure, as well as 35 million to our sewer, together with the staff recommendations, and to make sure that we are able to deliver in all of these projects. The presentation tonight is meant to give you an overview of where we've been to support those master plans and to make sure that our finances are straight going forward. So with that, I'd like to introduce John Wright from Rostellis. He's our consultant through DUREC that is working through this process, and I'll be in the background moving slides. So John, if you can hear us, feel free to jump in. John.
I believe he's muted.
And if he's not able, I can jump in on the presentation, but hopefully he can join us soon. No. So is he muted? All right. So it looks like we're having a few technical difficulties. Thankfully, I've gone through this presentation with John a few times, so I will attempt to cover until he is able to join our presentation. All right. My name is John Wright. I'll be nice. No, so no, we're very grateful to John. He's been and his team summer to just be able to present this tonight. There's been quite a bit of work, a lot of Excel sheets and data that I'm not smart enough to be able to go through. So tonight we'll be discussing some financial planning, some rates, proposed rates based on what we have so far, what a bill impact might look like, and how do we compare to our surrounding agencies. In terms of the project scope, I'll talk about what Rostellis did in terms of financial plans, cost of service studies, and some of the proposed rates for fiscal years 26 to 30, including proposed capacity fees, which are not discussed in this meeting. It's going to be a later topic. So starting on the water financial planning side, this is an illustration of what happens if we do nothing. So right now, the ending cash balance is denoted in that bluish color. In fiscal year 27, you see that our ending cash balance appears to be close to $18 million, and it starts dwindling fast. So 28, 29, 30, and we go quickly into very big negative numbers. This is a big problem because not only obviously we're in the red, but it affects our debt coverage ratio and our bond ratings as well. So what's going to be discussed tonight is we have a couple options on how to present the funding for our CIP, our capital improvement project. So we have a scenario where we increase rates and also add a debt to it, a bond, to help out. At the introduction of a bond to the rate increase or the rate structure spreads the cost over time, which reduces your monthly rate basically a little bit, or reduces the impact of the rate increases. We could also do only just upfront cover it outright with rates. However, we are recommending that we you take the advantage of reducing the impact on the ratepayers and we'll proceed with the debt financing option. You'll see that on the top, I'm saying 80% CIP completion rate. So what this means is that we're trying to not pass the full burden to the ratepayer. We'll be looking for grants or other avenues to make up the full CIP. And also understanding that many times it's difficult to complete 100% of the CIP that's outlined in the master plan. So we feel that the 80% CIP completion rate is a good standard to try to achieve while encouraging staff to keep on with the grants and delivering the project. So give you an idea on this table, and John, if you're back, feel free to jump in. But hearing not, I'll continue on. Oh, what happened?
Trying to get the audio. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
he's just there. All right, John, I see you there, very disappointed. I apologize for that. I hope I'm doing okay, John. Like, there we go. All right, so when we do rate increases, we're talking about 5-year periods. So that's where we show in 27 through 2031 to be able to deliver the CAP prudently. We've established the following rates on the percent increases is on the top. When we did the master plan, we were very careful to spread out the CAP over different years to reduce the impact. You'll notice the percents in the beginning years are high and then they level off in later years. One of the reason, or the main reason that they're high initially is because we haven't raised rates for a long time. We're catching up. The last rate increase was approved in 2012 or so, which ran 5 years from there through that Prop 218, ended up in around 2018. So we haven't raised rates in a long time. And as I noted, as was shown in the previous spreadsheet, that's not sustainable. We would go into negative balance. By doing what's shown here, our ending cash balance is stabilized. So as you can see that we have a prudent amount in our reserves going forward, and we're kind of within target. So the other thing that's been noted is the debt coverage ratio is maintained, which is the minimum requires 1.1, 1.15, and we're just keeping above that. So finance will be happy and our bond rating will be good. This is the minimum amounts that we need to maintain everything in equilibrium. In terms of what it looks for customers, so this is water rates are based on meter size. So for our current rate is 375 per 1,000 gallons. It goes to 396 per 1,000 gallons. So it's a difference of 21 cents per 1,000 gallons. And I'll have future slide to see what that means to a real ratepayer. For businesses or higher uses, the typical business would use a 1 inch, maybe a 2 inch. Once you get into 3, 4, 5, 6 meters, these are your Walmart, Costco heavy users. So all residentials are 3/4. A few have 1 inch, and none have 2 inches really, or they shouldn't. And 2 inches is a business water service. In terms of the increases over 5 years, this is how they would look like in terms of rates. I discussed previously the 1 year in 2027, so it goes to 396. Moving it forward, it increased up to after 5 years to $5.18 per 1,000 gallons. The same just goes across the line. So going back to typical homes, this slide is meant to represent 3 typical users. On your left is a very small water consumer. Maybe that's a retired couple or somebody living alone or just very small apartment, something like that. Very small consumption, about 7,000 gallons. So for them, based on these rates, their water portion of the bill would go from $29.81 to $31.16, so about $2, a little less. A more typical consumer would be more into 12,000 gallons. So their rate there goes from 48 to about 50, again, about $2 a month. And then for a more heavier consumption, maybe you have a pool or a larger family, it goes from 71 to 74. So that gives you an idea what that 14% or that increase looks like for a typical home. In this case, the first year is actually less than at 4%. Gives you an idea. So in terms of dollars, what it is. So not to scare. For a restaurant, what does this look like? Again, a small restaurant would go from, let's say, 137 to 148, about $10 a month. Medium-sized restaurant would go from 193 to 208, so about $20 a month. Man, I can't buy a burger for that anymore.
Okay.
And a very high consumer, water consumer, would go from 486 to 517 a month in terms of water. For context. In terms of a medical facility, for example, medical office, a typical one would be from, and this is maybe for this consumer, 182 to 196 to get those percents into dollar values. And that concludes the water side. Any questions on the water impacts? And then if not, I'll move on to the wastewater, which is basically a mirror of this in many ways. Same idea. We will be recommending the approach that includes the rate increase plus debt financing. There's a bigger debt financing request for sewer of $14 million in the year 2030. Doing so keeps all of our targets in line and our debt service requirements in line as well. There's more infrastructure that's needed as part of the sewer than in the water. The water plant is a newer facility, newer system. The wastewater requires a little bit more love at this point. The rate increases are lower overall if you start. So we started with 10% and then moved to 7s throughout. Same idea. If we do nothing, we go into the red very fast by bigger dollar numbers in this case. And a lot soon. So what is it? One thing that's different that I want to touch base on this project is on the left side of your screen, these are all of the rate categories for sewer that our finance department has to go through and navigate at this point. It was based on some schedule from we don't know when. And we like to standardize it to a more defensible mechanism, which is strength loading. So the strength of the sewer for residential home is less than the strength of industrial facility, for example. So the treatment cost of that sewer for the city is much higher for the industrial user to be able to treat that to meet regulatory compliance than for a residential user. So with that concept in mind, the rates for a residential should be lower than the rates for a commercial industrial user, just because of the different type of sewer that's being entered into the system. With that comparable, we're basically trying to downsize and fit all of these current rate classes into new ones that are into the right. So you have residential and duplex, basic multifamily and mobile homes, low strength commercial, commercial regular strengths, high strengths, and extra strengths. And BOD is biological oxygen demand. So it's how much demand does it produce on our system to treat. This table, I want to make sure that I explain it and you understand it because this shows how everything is compressed. And I'll start with this commercial regular. So all of these users that were before or currently in our system will be sandwiched into one commercial regular strength. Each of them has different dollar values associated with them that are here. And now they will all have the same dollar value, which matches the commercial regular strength, $7.12. So that means that there'd be a lot of discrepancies between existing and proposed or differences as we move along. And some of them will result in very heavy increases, but I want to show you next that although the number is very scary, in terms of practice, it's not that big. What it does help out in this case is because on the sewer side, on the residential, it actually only increases 4% on this first year for residential. The remainder are all over the place and do not match that overall 10% that was discussed earlier. If you remember, where is this? Sorry, it's actually here. The first year is an overall 10%, right? But now going back to this table, there's different percents that were discussed. They all average out to 10%. But it's just that first year is going to be the correction period to consolidate the users into one. After that, everybody is just going to go the standard 777, no matter of the user, because at that point, everybody's cleaned up and fixed up. So does that make sense up to that point? Are you in agreement more or less? And I'll explain what the impact before you agree. So with that, on the balance scenario, we have, actually I already went through the slide. And this one, why am I placing forward? So what does it look for on the sewer side? For residential, our current rate is $58.79, and it'll go to 61 in the first year. And that's doesn't matter what it is. So it's a flat rate for residential. Doesn't matter if it's a low user or a high user, it's a flat rate for single family residence. For restaurants, believe it or not, it's actually going down. Based on the oxygen demands for restaurants on the sewer rate is going down. For a small user, it might go from 448 to 270, and for a very high user, from 1,600 to 1,300. So net decrease on the residential. I'm sorry, on the restaurants. On the medical facilities, it's going up a little, but the rates in the first year go from 303 to 334. That's basically close to that 10%. And for hotels, it goes down. And this is all a function of adjusting and correcting our outdated schedule to be data-driven and by oxygen demand, something that's dependable under Prop 218. For retail, this is one of those that we wanted to make sure that we address, because in the spreadsheet it said something about 50-60% increase. And so we looked at what are retail. Yes, it could be like the cost for the Best Buys, but we want to make sure that we take a close look at our downtown. What would this do for small business, small family retail? And we had a hard time finding one that actually used much water. Our downtowns obviously don't have landscape. They basically have maybe a restroom, a sink. That's about it. They operate for only certain hours. They have extremely low water consumption. So because of that, their sewer bill, for example, on this one, on that first year, the adjustment period would go from $17.96 to $28. Yes, it's a 50% increase, but at the end of the day, it's $9 a month. So I just wanted to make sure that when you're seeing these big percentages, there's more to it in the back. So in terms of residential, single family, how do we compare to surrounding agencies? It's interesting that every agency has a different formula on how to calculate rates. It was fun going through that exercise to find all of these. But for a typical consumer of 12,000 gallons a month, our water rate, once you add water, sewer, trash, which is what we see, right? So we hardly go into our bill and how much did I pay for water? How much sewer? How much trash? At the end is how much is the city charging, right? So this might be more in line to bills that you receive. A typical El Centro resident pays around $132. Proposed would be around $37, so $5 total increase between water and sewer, assuming that the trash rate stays the same over time. And I compared everybody else's total bill, Imperial, including their trash bills, Raleigh, Heber, Calexico, and looked at their water and sewer. For the same amount of water, we pay proposed, if this eventually goes out to Prop 218, 137, Imperial for the same amount of water is 180, Raleigh 154, Heber 148. Calexico is lower, but they're due for a rate increase. So just wanted to put that in perspective when we bring that before you, so you have a feel of how we're trending, and if we get that comfort level of where we're at. So this would be if we project for the city of El Centro, the water bill over the 5 years. Even at the end of 5 years, the total bill would be 171, which is still kind of in line to today's other agencies. We don't know how much their water bills will increase for the next 5 years for these other agencies, sorry, here. So even at 5 years, we'll still be lower than City of Imperial, for example, today. Any questions? Because the next is I'm trying to confirm, one, provide me direction that we all agree on the balance scenario where we go with debt for bonds. I say debt, but it's a bond issuance to accelerate the work and smooth out the spikes in rates. I also like to get your confirmation on that consolidation of the sewer rate structure, because that's important. There's going to be some that are a lot higher than others, right? This first year, then it'll be the same for all rate increases. But the first year, while we bring everybody into the new rate schedule, there's those big changes. Also, we are intending to come back to council on March 17 to start our Prop 218. We wanted to, before we get to that, get your feedback tonight so that we can make sure that we are presenting you the correct rate structures and we start that Prop 218 process with the correct information. So if you have any feedback or recommendations on how to market, advertise, inform the public on the Prop 218, we'd like to hear any feedback that you might have, and also just confirming a recommendation so we can feel comfortable coming back on March 17 to open the Prop 218 process.
Maybe not, just overall, my question is, your projected timeline that's what I'm kind of wondering about, your projected timeline if we go forward from tonight.
Definitely. So thank you. So again, feel free to contact John Wright with any question, as well as Summer Simpson, who has been very helpful both to provide this. They will be here in person for the 317. Just to you have an opportunity to meet them at that point. So Prop 218 is once we start the process, I'm not sure if there's a better schedule, but once we start the process, let's say March 17, that starts the clock for advertising. So we'll release a notice. There's a 45-day period minimum after we start that advertising. It doesn't start on 317. It starts when we mail out the notices. So realistically, it's a 2+ month process. So we're looking at sometime in May to come back and read the protest votes and decide whether approve the rates or not. And they would likely be effective July 1.
So you're asking for input about possible connection or contacting our public. Whatever means that we normally do through our, our websites, and then through our flyers, maybe obviously through our bills, both electronically and then mail out. But I think it's important for our citizens, our community, to understand that foundationally we haven't done this in a long time, and I think that that's going to set that tone, because it's a shock and awe anything anymore. Everything, every time you turn around in every direction, everything's going up. And you know, you need to be able to absorb it. You need to be able to say, okay, I get this. I understand why this is. And I think by laying out that in the last, you know, 5, 7 years, 10 years, whatever, we've had either zero or minimum in different areas. I was really kind of taken back about our lack of service fees compared to the other jurisdictions that
That's
you
what
had
I was
showed.
looking at, yeah.
Yeah, so I was, you know, and I'm sure there's different reasons for different things. When I was listening to the presentation, I was listening to the fact that we are just trying to keep up with the cost of doing business. And so we're trying to maintain where we're at. And this is how we're going to do it. Which is, I think, is commendable and a commitment to the community that, you know, that we're only trying to do what we can do to provide the services. We're not, this is not a income product. So I really believe that if you can gear some of your information to the foundation that, look, we're trying to do everything we can to minimize the cost increase. We have not had one in such a period of time. And if you know, here you're talking about a 14%, 13%, 5%, 5%. When you buy your car and you have a 5-year loan, that payment's huge. But if you own your car for 20 years and 15 of those 20 years you don't, over a period of time, that seems to be more of a minimum monthly payment. And that's what I'm getting at is we didn't have any increases for, you know, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. These percentages go down if you looked at over that average. So,
You know what was good as well is the comparisons, because it shows that even the increase that we'll have within 5 years, it still doesn't compare to what Imperial has now.
yeah, and absolutely. I don't know if we want to blast any other jurisdiction for sure.
But, I mean, it
We
was all
already did,
there.
Mike.
It was there.
If you're listening, but certainly we can highlight that on our side of it. So I agree.
Yeah.
That we feel very comfortable. We appreciate you're okay, but those other guys, that John Wright, he was outstanding in this presentation.
No, we could absolutely not do that with our consultants.
No,
And John
I
Wright
can tell there's a
and
lot of
Summer,
work that
it's-
was put into it.
have done a lot. I did not do this presentation. It was all them.
No.
I butchered it quite a bit, and John would have done a lot better job. But at the end of the day, we welcome your feedback and looking for your support.
Oh, that was my feedback. Does anyone have anything else?
I just wanted to say thank you to Abraham and your staff because you guys did a great job in bringing all of this together and consolidating it and bringing something ancient into the modern realm. And like everyone's been saying, the rate, it hasn't been done in how many years you stated? Since
2012.
Since 2012.
The last increase of that 5-year was 2018.
Yeah, so that's a long time. And so for the minimal amount that is being raised, and then even in some cost savings, I think it's a win-win for everyone. So thank you, and thank the staff that worked so hard on this.
You know, and I would imagine that consumers are going to say, well, wait a minute, I'm paying more. But you had mentioned something that I wasn't thinking about until you brought that up. The trash rates have gone up. So when it's consolidated into the one bill, and so we see that increase, we just naturally think, okay, there's just an increase in our bill. But to itemize it down, we haven't had those rates. It was the trash rate that kind of raised that up. So
Correct.
Maybe that's something else we can figure out how to outline.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I have my direction. We'll come back on March 17 and start officially the process.
We'll be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
That's number 9, right? We're good?
9 and
All right,
10.
here we go.
Getting on it, huh?
We're getting on it now. 9, request for bus shelter, funding request for bus shelters, Abraham Campos.
All right, good evening. That's actually is a very quick one, promise. So we just want to remind you of the previous approval on the style. So back then we didn't have the bench shown in in the shelter. So now this is being corrected by the vendor to basically this is what we're going to be purchasing. And now this is how it would look more or less. This is the Costco stop. If that was installed, for example, we use that one because we had it before in terms of our previous presentation. Now, we have an option. So last time we approved the style, but we did not approve the funding. We kind of said, hey, we'll talk about it later, maybe budget and so forth. We have an opportunity to kickstart this, and we could purchase 2 shelters for incredible value of 2,500, and I'll explain why. 4 shelters for 64 or 6 for 109. The reason it's so low is not because 2 shelters cost 4,000, but because we have some money left over from when ICTC provided funding for us was maintain the shelters. So we have to spend that money for that purpose. So that leverages against the cost. And some of proposed locations are Imperial Avenue. If you can see by the hospital, there's actually 2 on each side. So to do this intersection is 4 shelters. Whoops. There's another shelter, 2 shelters, one on each side of by Barbara Worth, by DMV, and across the street as well. So we have an option, or I'm asking, would you be interested in that designated funding for either installing 2, 4, or 6? If it's 2, it'd likely be by the DMV. If it's 4, we could put in by the hospital area, or do all 6. Do more, do less, you tell us. But at the end of the day, we need the money. So to be able to purchase them, we have options in terms of funding sources. We could either do Measure D, which is our LTA funds. We could use Measure P. We could use General Fund. And then you tell us where you'd like to cover the funding, and also how much you'd like to designate or provide us an alternate direction. So with that, I'm just looking for a motion to approve some money from some fund versus bunch shelters.
That's about as open as you can ask for it.
What's the, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, the money and explain Measure D and LTA funds and what we have there.
Measure D is our road funds, a transportation fund. So we receive, I can't remember the exact number, but it's $5-6 million a year, more or less. That's what we use to overlay our streets. Eligible expenses include transportation items, such as this is because this is a bus facility. This is a transportation.
Mostly paving.
Paving, overlay, sidewalk,
Yes.
concrete.
Okay, concrete also.
Transportation, anything
Yes,
that moves
okay.
people via vehicle or foot.
So this is an accepted expenditure for that funding.
That's correct.
And those funds come from?
It's a pass through from ICTC, and it's a sales. So it's a regional sales tax that for roads, similar to Measure P. Measure P is just South Central. Measure D is the sales.
If we used Measure D and LTA funds, would this short our paving, your resurfacing projects?
No, I mean, it's by a very small amount compared to the income that we receive.
Because you have a schedule that you're on, like paving, resurfacing. Yes,
Correct.
a program that you're going, okay.
This wouldn't be a big impact.
Okay, thank you.
Abraham, may I ask just clarification for myself? These 6, are they part of what ICTC is going to order, those others that we had spoken of
No.
before? That's something different.
That's an addition.
Okay, an addition. Okay, thank you.
Claudia?
So ICT is currently out to bid for a project that included the bus shelters along Ross and Buckland Park, Aurora and Buckland Park, the library, and I'm blanking out on the other ones. But that project is currently out to bid by ICTC, and they have included a new style because we provided that direction to them. So these shelters that are being proposed tonight would be in addition to that, to be separate.
Okay. And then the rest of them, how many do we have in total in El Centro?
Around 27, 28. So locations. I need to get back to you with the exact number.
Okay.
but I remember it totaled around 600,000 to replace all of them.
Okay.
They only covered the certain ones and then we're responsible for the rest?
They're different locations. So ICTC
Okay.
is different locations.
Yes, okay, so they have certain locations that they'll take responsibility for.
Correct.
Thank you. And we have up to 6.
You can
named,
designate more right
one,
now,
two-
right?
So, oh, actually, that was all on Imperial Avenue then?
Yes.
2 on each side of the hospital and then 2 down by the DMV?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and you're happy with that location, want to propose another location, but it just made sense because that's a
Just
heavy
making sure
use
all the
area.
other ones are included also, but ICT is going to be funding those. Thank you.
That's correct.
So when would we come back for the rest of those, since we approved?
We can do a budget request. We can do.
Okay.
I think we should get started to hopefully get them and see how they, once they're
Yes.
up, how they look,
Uh-huh.
right? And this is we would be using city staff time to put them up.
Install, okay.
So it'll take a little bit of time once we get them. Lead time, I think it's 20 some weeks before we even get them after we place the order.
Will this design match the ones that we are getting from ICTC
Be the
then?
exact same standard.
Okay, okay, well, that helps. So we can have them all match.
That's the plan,
Purpose,
Sam.
yeah.
So there's 6 from ICTC right now.
6 locations.
And
I
then
remember.
these 6, that if we were to approve 6,
Or
would be a total of 12.
Also,
The ones
yes.
from ICTC is the same design. Is there a cost to us for them because we went in this design or because we got in time?
It's in a way in their favor because they get a brand new facility, which they wouldn't, we're not counting on.
Okay. So then this would be our, I know that we have 27 and not all 27 have shelters anyhow right now. Some of them are stand-ups. But, for fiscal responsibility, maybe that if we're planning on doing 6 and they got 6 coming in, we can maybe spread it out over a couple of years to get them done, or versus trying to put.
Realistically, if we do them in-house, we cannot get them all done. We don't have the staff to be able to do so. So I think this 6 will take us at least this year.
Would suffice
Put 'em
for
up.
To the
right
end of
now.
the year, yeah.
Okay. Well,
I'm good. I'll make a motion for the 6 shelters on Imperial Avenue.
what
Yeah.
what
With
funding?
Which funding source?
Oh, with the funding source, Measure D?
Mhm.
Thank you.
So we have a motion and a second. You second that? Okay.
I'm sorry, who's second?
Tony.
I did.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Is that it on the bus stops?
Yeah, there's one more. Yeah, that's it.
We passed the bus stop.
The shelters
We're-
finally.
Yay. All right. Number 10. I've already said this, it seems like it's establishing water rates, setting procedures under Proposition 218, Abraham Coppels.
All right, so this is with the great help of our attorney, Joanna Hoff. So what this policy does, it sets the procedure on how to move forward with Prop 218 when we get ready to go through it. It's a policy statement to make sure that we take advantage of the latest legislations in terms of how protests can be counted and addressed. It just established a framework for Prop 218. So if you have any technical questions on this, I would defer you to our city attorney.
Any questions?
Any questions? Any comments? Okay.
So I'm looking motion to approve or adopt resolution 26.
So with one modification, the resolution, wherever it says water rates, it should say water and wastewater rates. So apologize for that.
So I make a motion to approve that with that amendment in that resolution.
A second.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
And with that, we will move on to council members and task force meetings. And Councilmember Carter, can I start with you?
Okay. The chambers, they did an AI training. Mayor Pro Tem and I attended. It was very informative. A lot of information squeezed into 2 hours. It was about protecting your data and just making sure that you collect everything that is useful. The data was just a big key to this presentation. And I mean, if you ever have a chance to go to an AI training, yeah, take a pen and paper with you, make sure that you're ready to listen and attend one of those trainings. And then we had our downtown ad hoc meeting. And of course, a lot of things that came before you tonight were things that we had discussed. So we're glad to see a lot of things moving forward. And then we attended the Mardi Gras King and Queen Gala. Very nice, very well attended. It was a nice event. And we also attended the IVG SL opening ceremonies. And we got to see the mayor throw a pitch out there. I think you did really well, right?
I didn't hit the anybody. So.
Yeah, so you did really well. So it was very nice to attend that. And I also attend Pioneer Day. Woo, it was a lot of people there. A lot of people. They had a lot of booths, a lot of history. They had a hayride. They had a lot of just information you got to go through and look inside. And inside of there, I always go and look and take pictures because they have my grandmother's picture in there from where she was the secretary of Washington School for 48 and a half years. So I always go through and take a picture of that and just reminisce. So it's very nice attended event. The Mardi Gras parade, of course, always very well attended. We attended 2 swearing in ceremonies so far within these last 2 weeks. So that means we have a lot of new employees came in. Very nice. And today was one of them and 5 new employees. And Brown got some work on his hands. He got some training to do. So I'm proud of him. Good job. He got some employees that came in. We had our hospital board meeting. I did attend the IVC Black History Month program. It was very nice, well attended, a lot of dancing, a lot of history. Got to see a lot of people out there. The ICTC commission meeting, and we did discuss the benches. So they went out to bid on Friday. So yeah, so we're moving forward with that. And then Mayor Pro Tem and I attended the Godson's Marketplace grand opening, an antique store on Main Street. Oh, they had all kind of stuff in there. So I mean, I hated to take her in there because her daughter's gonna get me because she's gonna go back and buy something because it was very nice stuff. Very nice. And that concludes my report.
Bunch of old stuff in that antique store.
Yes, but somebody likes to collect old stuff.
Okay, well, very good. Marquise?
Go next. So, in line with we had our ECRMC board meeting a week ago, Monday, but I also attended the ECRMC had a surprise visit by the Joint Commission, and so they are the accrediting agency for the hospital. So I attended a leadership meeting, and so I expressed what I had shared during that meeting in terms of a little bit of a history of where the hospital was and where it is now and where it is going. And I'd also like to mention that the merger has been delayed once again. And it's not because of something that's within our control. It's, the bondholders are the ones that are putting more, what should I say, requests forward. And so, this is where we are at the moment. Hopefully, we will come to an agreement and then, move forward with finalizing the asset transfer agreement and then finally bringing the hospital under the same umbrella with Pioneers. So let's see. Since the fair has started, Ivy Fair and Fiesta had their fair kickoff and VIP reception. So I was fortunate enough to be able to attend that. And let's see. So, as you know, this is Read Across America, time. And so I was invited to read to a third grade class at Washington School yesterday, as a matter of fact. So I'm kind of fond of the Cat in the Hat. This is like, because I think I'm a cat person. And so I just like to see the kind of shenanigans that the Cat in the Hat gets itself into. So I read a couple of books by Cat in the Hat. Let's see. And tomorrow I'm also invited to another Read Across America event at Cross Elementary in Imperial, but I have connections there. So that's why I was invited. And then we have an upcoming Finance Committee meeting tomorrow as well. So that concludes my report.
Very good.
Yes, so just along with the others and adding on to, touching on what Sylvia just shared about ECRMC, there are so many agreements and so many contracts that everything has to come, these constellations have to line up perfectly to be able to finish this transition. So besides some financial, issues that they're going to have to be sorted out. So I just ask people to pray for ECRMC, our hospital, for this transition to go smoothly. We'll miss our so-called target of March 6th, but that was probably expected. So we're hoping this really will progress. They're doing a lot. This JACO inspection that they had went very well. There's a lot of mechanical things like doors that they have to fix. But as far as medical and process, they did very well. We should be very proud of what they do. I'm just so proud of what they do over there with what they have. So just pray for them. And again, the fair has started, and that's a big deal. And the weather's been really nice. And I'm deeply involved in a gospel booth that is there, and it's very busy, even though it seems like not too many people come this first weekend, but there's 2 more weekends. And then the air show, the 14th also is coming up. That is also a huge attraction. And then I've got a good news story. A Christ Community lead pastor, Walter Colas, took a group over 20 people to Israel, and they'd been there probably 11, 12 days, were supposed to fly out Saturday morning. Well, he didn't know that there was an attack arranged, planned. And since it was obviously found out that Iran was going to attack and they needed to supersede that. And so they bumped Israel and US bumped their attack up to Saturday morning, shut down the airports. There's no airplanes flying out of the commercial airplanes flying. So they were stuck in a war zone. But they felt, and just yesterday, myself and the manager at KGBA, we interviewed Walter on his cell phone in Israel for over an hour, and they feel very safe, very comfortable, very assured, and they believe they'll probably be able to fly out in a couple of days. They had to leave they had bomb shelter. The hotel they're staying in has a bomb shelter, a very comfortable place, but that's for clients. So they had their reservations for one night, and then they had to leave. So through a contact in El Centro, there was a person in Jerusalem that offered them a place for all of them to stay free. They paid for their food. I don't want to say who it is, but it was incredible contact that we made arrangements to have them stay in a very safe place until they can fly out, which he is hoping it's going to be tomorrow. We'll see if that works out. But they're very safe. They're very comfortable. That was a good news thing. They're watching. We are all watching history and making, especially prophetic history and making right now. That's my report.
Thank you.
Just gonna ditto what Councilmember Carter said, because I did most of that with her. And the only thing I'll say is that Also wanted to give a shout out to Sylvia and the fundraising group because you guys sold
That's
out
right.
on all of your
How could I
pies
forget
on-
about the pies? I
on
bought
Mardi
one.
Gras, yeah.
I bought one. you
So
know,
that was a
it's like,
great,
yeah.
that was a great feat.
How many?
We went to try to get
100.
some. 300?
No, 100
Oh,
pies
yeah.
is what we ordered. And so, and as a matter of fact, when I went to buy one, I went back to my spot on the parade route. And I think probably about 3 or 4 people, I was standing there with the pie, asked me where I got that. So, where's Adriana left, but I just had to, I completely forgot. How could I forget?
I
Thank you
remember
for
because we
reminding
didn't
me.
get one because we went to go. We went to go buy
Yeah.
one,
They were
but they were sold out.
Those pies are
But that
really
was a good job.
Those pies are really good. I could have had a piece with my
With
coffee
coffee.
tonight.
But yeah, looking forward now that downtown's moving forward. We have more ideas, especially hopefully on some other area that we'll talk on later. And today I had my first orientation meeting with as an executive board member with the IVCCC. So tomorrow's my first official meeting. So hoping we can do great things for our city and valley through that. That's all I have.
Excellent. Well, Mario's given me a list of things that I need to announce, so I will take care of that right now. 6th of Main Street Market Days return to the downtown area. This will be Thursday, March 12th, between 5 and 9 p.m. This monthly community event continues to bring the energy to our downtown corridor with our local vendors, food booths, small businesses, and live entertainment. If you want more information, it will be on our social media pages. So, also the Southern Pump Station grand opening, the City of El Centro will be hosting the grand opening ceremony of our Southern Pump Station Thursday, March 19th, 5 p.m. Pump station was funded through American Rescue Plan Act, wastewater working capital funds to strengthen our sewer capacity and reliability. While Danberg Road was reconstruction was funded separately through Senate Bill number 1. That also is on our social media. For a lot of us, Danberg Drive is open, so now it's complete. The components are done. Between 4th and Dogwood, it's allowed for free traffic flow, and critical underground infrastructure upgrades were completed, along with what happened?
The time, it's 9 a.m. for the ribbon cutting for the Southern Pump Station, March 12th.
For which one? For Danberg?
No,
No,
for
the Southern Pump Station?
Yeah, March 19th. It's not 19th?
No, it's the 12th,
My mistake. The 12th. At what time?
9 a.m.
9 a.m. Completely different. March 12th, 9 a.m. So, and if you missed it, we were having a second one on March 19th.
Mike will be there by
We're gonna
himself.
reenact. We're gonna reenact the one on the 12th. Okay,
I mean, I'm bad enough by myself. I don't need you to write me stuff. All right, quickly. Yes, I threw a softball. I was very proud that of all of us that were there, we were represented well. Mardi Gras was awesome. Fire, thank you. Got to be up on that truck. I wanted them to take the ladder all the way up, but they wouldn't do it. I don't know. So I wasn't going to get on. I was going to send my wife all the way to the top. But nope. But it was pretty awesome. And then from that, just going through and just seeing the crowd, it really was a hunger for our community to go out and do these events. So it was really appreciative. I would like to thank the staff for all the hard work. I mean, everybody. It truly is. Same, Andrew. Please make sure that all are aware of our thanks for their hard work and dedication. Went to that Legacy Fair reopening, or the what was it called? The Legacy kickoff.
Oh, you mean for the fair?
Yeah.
Oh, the Ivy Fair and Fiesta. My gosh, I put my thing away.
See,
But
it's
it was
contagious.
a kickoff. It was a kickoff reception and
So-
VIP. You know.
Yeah, so it was a kickoff for the fair. It was a neat event. Lots of people got there. It was typically the sponsors. What happened? Oh,
What
okay.
is the theme for the fair this year?
Want me to say what I was saying?
Celebration.
Yes, 250th
Yeah.
celebration.
No, they're celebrating the 175th anniversary of the state of California.
Oh,
Because
I
we're a
heard the
state fair.
250.
Yeah,
Okay,
because we're a
okay,
state
okay.
fair. Yeah.
175th.
I didn't know that.
175 years.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So just my final thought, how dare they have 100 degrees in February?
I know.
Saturday, 100 degrees, February 28th, or it was just not right. Spring is on a day. It just happens on one day and then it's summer. So, and with that being said, I believe Sunday is daylight savings. So make sure we are setting our clocks because we have a little lecture. The kids are going to be able to play basketball an extra hour over there at Legacy Park. So, and with that, City Manager, your report.
Just a couple of things. I'm very pleased to report back to council that the League of Cities met last week and took a positive stance and remain neutral. And yes, it was a decision to remain neutral on the sales tax initiative that we spoke about previously. The mayor and I had written some letters to the Cal Cities or League of Cities. And again, special thank you to Mayor Pro Tem for bringing that to my attention so we can get on that right away. I still am attending meetings. We had one at 7:30 this morning. There's still some work that needs to be done, but that is a huge win for us and a huge thank you to the League of Cities for really staying true to their charter and not being divisive in that. So that's great news for everybody up and down the state. Mardi Gras coronation was phenomenal. Just the amount of work that went into it. I saw staff in and out of the office all day long. There still is glitter in the conference room, by the way. So, we celebrate every time we go in there. But just a great event and well attended by just different walks of our community and past and present kings and queens, and very nice to see. As a reminder to our employees, we have our employee appreciation lunch this Thursday here in the courtyard from 11:30 to 2. Show up, grab some food. It just kind of is one small manner that we can say thank you to everything that you do. You hear it from council every meeting. They mean it from the bottom of their hearts. This is just one way to get back to the employees. So please encourage all of your staff to attend. It will be good food. It will be served hot and in a timely fashion. PD and fire, please make sure that your on-duty staff show up, or at least somebody shows up and gather some food and bring back to those that couldn't come in. A friendly reminder that both the city and our police department have booths at the fair. So when you're out there grabbing your hot dog or corn dog and your funnel cake and watching all the animals, exhibits and everything else, please stop by and say hi to our staff out there and see some of the really neat giveaways that Mario came up with and some of the other employees came up with. I do have to say I'm very partial. I think we have one of the best looking booths out there. They did a very good job at decorating both the PD and the city's booths. So thank you to our employees for that. And lastly, a huge thank you to two different groups, Abraham and Liz and your entire crew for the water study. I will tell you, I know more about water rates than I ever want to know in my life. I think I've attended about 6 or 7 different ones. I am not unhappy that John's microphone did not work tonight because he is a wealth of knowledge, but he talks longer than you. I didn't know that was possible. But huge thank you to what you guys are doing to make sure that we're not only set now, but we're sustainable in the future for things to come. And then secondly, I know Adriana had to leave a little bit early tonight, but her and her crew for entire Mardi Gras, not just the coronation, but the parade itself. A lot of things go into it. Public Works helps out. I know PD and Fire have crews there, but just the amount of time and effort to get these things off the ground. Unfortunately, I had a personal event that I had to attend a birthday party on the night of the Mardi Gras parade, so I wasn't able to make the parade. But the photos are just fantastic, wall-to-wall people, and that's what we want to see is our community coming out and enjoying our events. We did have a downtown ad hoc committee meeting where we discussed some additional events that we'd like to potentially plan for in the future. And I'll close on that note with the fact that at our next meeting, you'll hear our mid-year budget review, and you'll hear some nice things about our budget to come and some additional information at that point in time. A lot of things going on in the city, a lot of great work going on by our employees, a lot of great projects approved by council. So thank you for that and have a wonderful night.
Before I do this, anyone have anything? Good. We're adjourned.